Imagine you work for an entire year. You sweat, you stress, you sacrifice your time. At the end of the year, your boss hands you $50,000 in cash. You take that cash, put it in a safe box, and bury it in your backyard. You feel safe. You think, this is my money. Nobody can take it. 10 years later, you dig it up. The $50,000 is still there. The paper is the same. The numbers are the same. But when you go to the store, you realize something terrifying. That $50,000 now only buys $25,000 worth of goods. Half of your labor, half of your life energy has vanished into thin air. Who took it? No thief broke into your house. No tax man knocked on your door. It was stolen by the silent thief. It was stolen by inflation. Welcome to Infinite Systems. Today, I am going to expose the biggest scam in financial history. I am going to show you why saving money is actually a guaranteed way to lose wealth. We will look at the history of money, why the government wants inflation, and how you can opt out of this rigged system by owning hard assets. Let's start with the definition. What is inflation? Most people think inflation is prices going up. Oh, milk is more expensive because the cows are demanding higher wages. No, prices are not going up. The value of your money is going down. Imagine a ruler. If a ruler shrank by 10% every year, you would measure a table and say, wow, the table is getting longer. The table didn't change, the ruler changed. The dollar is a shrinking ruler. Why does it shrink? Because of 1971. Before 1971, the US dollar was backed by gold. For every dollar printed, there was gold in a vault. This kept the government disciplined. They couldn't just print money out of thin air. But in 1971, President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. Suddenly, money became fiat. Fiat means let it be done in Latin. It means money has value only because the government says so. Since that day, the money supply has exploded. When you print more of something, it becomes less valuable. It is basic supply and demand. If I printed 1 trillion Mona Lisa paintings, the original Mona Lisa would be worthless. The government prints trillions of dollars to pay for wars, social programs, and bailouts. And every time they hit print, they are diluting the value of the dollars in your pocket. This is what I call the silent tax. If the government raised your income tax to 50%, you would riot in the streets. You would burn down the Capitol. But if they print money and cause 10% inflation, you don't notice immediately. You just complain that groceries are expensive. Inflation is a tax that is levied without legislation. It is a way for the government to pay its bills by stealing purchasing power from savers. Let's look at the math. The rule of 72 works for inflation too. If inflation is 7%, which is close to reality in recent years, your money loses half its value in 10 years. Think about that. If you keep $100,000 in a savings account for a decade, it becomes $50,000 in real terms. You didn't lose the number, you lost the power. This is why the middle class is dying. They save in fiat currency. They work hard for dollars, they save dollars, and the dollars melt like ice cubes in the sun. Meanwhile, the rich get richer. Why? Because the rich do not hold dollars, they hold assets. The rich understand one rule: cash is trash. Cash is for spending, it is for transactions, it is not for storing wealth. To store wealth, you need a hard asset. A hard asset is something that cannot be printed. It has a limited supply. There are only 3 main buckets of hard assets that protect you from inflation.
Bucket number 1 is scarcity, gold and Bitcoin. Gold has been money for 5,000 years because you cannot print gold. You have to dig it out of the ground. It is hard work. That is why an ounce of gold bought a nice suit in ancient Rome, and it buys a nice suit today. It holds value. Bitcoin is digital gold. It is even scarcer. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, mathematical perfection. When the government prints trillions of dollars, the price of Bitcoin and gold goes up. Not because they are changing, but because the dollar is crashing against them. Bucket number 2 is real estate. God isn't making any more land. When you own a rental property, you are protected in 2 ways. First, the value of the house rises with inflation. A house that cost $10,000 in 1950 costs $500,000 today. The house didn't get 50 times better. The dollar got 50 times weaker. Second, rents rise with inflation. If the price of bread goes up, you raise the rent. The landlord passes the cost of inflation to the tenant. If you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, inflation is actually your friend. You borrowed expensive dollars in 2024, and you pay back cheap, inflated dollars in 2044. The bank loses, you win. This is why debt can be a hedge against inflation. Bucket number 3 is equities, stocks. When you own a share of Coca-Cola or Apple, you own a piece of a productive machine. If inflation hits and the price of sugar and aluminum goes up, what does Coca-Cola do? They raise the price of the can. Their revenue goes up. Their stock price goes up. Companies are inflation adjustment machines. By owning stocks, you are owning the ability to raise prices. By owning bonds or cash, you are the victim of those price raises. So what is the strategy? How do you escape the silent theft? You need to change your mindset from saver to investor. In the 1950s, you could save your way to wealth because interest rates were higher than inflation. Today, interest rates are lower than real inflation. Saving is a losing strategy. You should keep enough cash for emergencies, 3 to 6 months, and not a penny more. Every dollar above your emergency fund is a melting ice cube. You need to move it into a freezer. The freezer is the S&P 500. The freezer is real estate. The freezer is Bitcoin. Look at your bank account right now. If you have $50,000 sitting there waiting for a crash or playing it safe, realize that you are paying a fee to keep it there. You are paying the inflation fee. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You have to run faster just to stay in the same place. This is why life feels so hard for regular people. They are running on an escalator that is going down. Stop running. Step off the escalator. Step onto the elevator of assets. When you own assets, inflation pushes you up. When you hold cash, inflation pushes you down. The government will never stop printing money. They can't. The system is too high. If they stop printing, the system collapses, so they will print forever. Do not bet against the printer. Bet on the things the printer cannot create. Protect your energy. Store it in things that are real. Welcome to the system.